So today's talk is going to be about Google search. And by that, I mean to suggest that there is Google News, which I know a lot of news organizations focused on, which is a human set of curated news publishers. Its news is classically defined, so it's the ephemeral, it's what's new. And you're all vying for that top stories box. I know that's a big deal. Google search is the internet, really. And it's what you get when you're actually going to search for things. It provides what are often known as organic results, which is to say a common algorithm that Google uses to organize all of the world's information. And it also is an advertising platform. But there's a really important reason why you should think about Google search. I know that a lot of you are, often so focused on news. That's my thing. I do news. Let's talk about Google News. But it's hard to argue with this number. That's the number of monthly visits to Google search, which is a lot bigger than 540 million. In fact, 540 million for Google News is about 1%, less than 1% of what you're getting. First thing you're going to do is you need to put a stake in the ground on a topic where you are an expert. I say a topic because the methodology I recommend you use is to go deep in a topic and do it right with this topic, because in order to win at a topic, you need to build the end-to-end stack of what I'm about to talk about at once. And only once that's done do all the parts start to work together and you start to rise in Google's rankings and thereby begin to get more consumers coming to your site. If you spread it thin by saying we'll create 4 topics and then we'll create this, then you're just spreading yourselves thin. So start with one topic. Example, living in India. Number 2, bolster your claim to that topic that you've created by creating related SEO-focused articles. Most of the time, you're going to be able to repurpose and rewrite all the great content in your archive because it's evergreen content. It doesn't change all that much and you've already got it written. New reporting is going to be less likely to be required. It's more about writing and rewriting content that you already have. And that content is designed to rise for certain key topics or keywords that support your main topic. That content then will also include something for those searchers that calls them to their next step, whatever the next thing they need to do to further their goal. It could mean that they need to get a guide. It could mean they need to learn more by reading yet another article or looking at yet another video. And it could mean that they could be subscribing to you. It's really something that you're going to set that's based upon your knowledge of their learning funnel and what their goal is. This is not hijacking them to do something they're not intending to do. It's complementing what they're trying to do and have gotten done on that page with the next step that they need to take to make it happen. Think about it this way. If you were an auto dealer, the first step is teaching about the car, and the second step is having them take a drive in the car. At the same time, you have the opportunity to raise the value of your topic of expertise by marketing the topic itself through other activities that journalists do really well, which is enterprise stories, studies, investigative pieces, all of those things that are around the topic of inquiry that are more news-oriented and are likely to be picked up as news by other providers as they think of covering themselves and pointing back to you. So this is the twofold thing. You're creating one, high-quality content that answers consumers' needs, and 2, you're generating backlinks to your content through studies, enterprise, investigative pieces around the topic. And that kind of things. Here's a story. We write this story once, and every year we update it a little bit. And it just sits there at the same URL. How much should you save for retirement? First thing we do is we give them the answer off the top. This is important because it builds trust. Our studies show conclusively that if you put a synopsis at the top of this kind of content, some consumers will bounce and leave instantly, but many more will stay. So on a percentage basis, you might see an increase in hard bounce, which is in for 15 seconds and out. But on an absolute numbers basis, you will see many more people staying in. And we watched and heard consumers describe how that added to the trust. So this isn't about teasing them. This is about giving them the answer as quickly as you can. Use section headers, bullets, pull quotes for scanners. And at the end, a couple of steps. What could you do next? And I say, ask for your due at this point. This is where one of the next steps might be get our comprehensive guide or sign up for updates. The key things you should look for when you're looking at results on the page is the overall click-through rate on that search results page doing well or not, growing or not. Because there are so many different places on that page where your content has to interact with different Google algorithms to get the top stories, to make it into the people also ask, to make it into the featured snippet. You really shouldn't focus on those, although good SEOs will have ideas for how to do that, but they change all the time. Overall, if your click-through rate is growing, that's a good sign. Rank and traffic are secondary measures. And you want to make sure you look at that, because if your CTR is growing and you're on page 36, that's not so good because no one goes past page 1 on Google search results. The page itself, it's the conversion on the page. You've got your ultimate goal is to get them to click that call to action, whatever it is. See what's new. Read the next step in the chapter in the guide. You need to measure that. It's not about just getting traffic. It's about getting traffic that's meaningful, that you satisfy, and that do what you want them to do.